Hello everyone and welcome to Sun Up. I'm Lyndall Stout. We begin today with an update on Oklahoma's wheat crop with our OSU Extension small grain specialist, Dr. Oliveira Silva.
Well, the stands are very variable around the state. So with all the drought we had in the fall, we had a lot of wheat that were planted late. Some emerged well, and some had issues with standing water. The seeds were just sitting in wet and cold soils for a while and did not emerge well. So right now in this state we have wheat plants or wheat fields that are growing well, looking good, and some that are not so good with emergence issues. So for example, in one of our fields in El Reno, the dual purpose plot, so that we planted late, is looking good. Now our grain only plots are not looking so good. So after we planted, that field got almost like 7 inches of rain, and we have emergence there varying from 30% emergence to maybe some 80%, 90%. So it's really variable. And I think that represents some parts of our state.
This time of year we usually talk about first hollow stem. Where are we in terms of that time of year and kind of how it moves from south to north across the state?
Yeah, it's moving. It's going slow just because of all these cold temperatures that we've been seeing. We are measuring it. We started measuring it early February, and it's moving very slow. So I know farmers are still have the cattle out there, so we're still trying to get some more out of that wheat that we have left. Yes, and with all this weather, nice weather, and then cold temperatures, it's being a little bit of a stop and go for wheat growing.
Some of your research does look at grazing and how that affects the plots. Talk about that and how it's set up.
Yes, we do. So in El Reno, we do have a comparison of plots that are grazed and non-grazed, so then we can look at the variety's performance under those two systems. And here in Stillwater this year, we are implementing a new way of measuring first hollow stem. So we used to measure first hollow stem on non-grazed plots, and so this year we are comparing first hollow stem on plots that were non-grazed and also with a simulation of grazing. So then we are really interested in seeing whether how much that grazing impact wheat development, and also how varieties differed in reaching first hollow stem when they are grazed versus non-grazed.
So are you getting some data that you're going to put out pretty quickly for folks to take a look at?
Yes, every week we measure first hollow stem in these plots here in Stillwater in the forage trials, and we put on the blog. So we've started already measuring it, and like I said, it's going slow just because of the weather, but we can already start seeing differences on the wheat development when you compare a non-grazed versus a grazed simulated grazing system.
And even though it was extremely cold with the wind chills and the actual temperature, the soil temperatures didn't get that cold, right?
Yes, so when we look at the Mesonet data for soil temperatures, it seems like in most cases the soil temperature never got below 30 Fahrenheit. And it's very likely because in a lot of places where we had very low wind chill, we also have good snow coverage, so that helped to insulate the crop and buffer that temperature, and actually it helped to protect our crop from worse damage that we could have had. Something to keep in mind, wheat is more tolerant to low temperatures at the youngest phase of growth, so let's say from December to February, so especially after producing a few leaves until before jointing, which is where most of our wheat are. So low temperatures that would damage our wheat that is tillering would be below 12 Fahrenheit to actually cause damage to a wheat that is tillering.
Okay, great. Thank you for explaining that. And let's hope for nice mild temperatures from March 1st until harvest, right?
Yes.
Okay,
And good
Amanda.
moisture.
Exactly, exactly. Well, thanks for your time. I'm sure we will see you again very soon. And for a link to Amanda's blog that she mentioned, we have a link for you at sunup.okstate.edu.